Finding Freedom. The Harry and Meghan biography has been making global headlines for months. It's released today, got my copy. Joining me exclusively in his first UK TV interview is the book's co-author, Omid Scobie. Omid, good morning to you.
Good morning, Andy. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, thank you very much indeed. When they told me I was interviewing you, I thought, it's brilliant. I'm going to have so many questions, and I've got so many questions. First of all, what prompted you to write the book? Because it's something you started 2 years ago?
Yeah, this was a process that began 2 years ago. And what was really interesting about the original version of this book is we were really following their courtship and their first year of marriage. It was going to be a celebratory title, really welcoming this couple into the firm. But of course, as time went by, that story changed. And one thing that Carolyn and I noticed time and time again, and was one of the things that drove us to really start the book in the first place, was how different the stories in some of the sections of the tabloids in the UK were compared to what we were seeing up close in person on the engagements we were doing with the couple, and also hearing from those around them. And it felt like a great opportunity to tell a different side to the story.
So just give me an idea of, when you say up close, how close were you to Meghan and Harry at times?
Well, I know there's a lot of rumours and talk about the couple cooperating with the book and us having secret interviews with them, and that's really not the case. But what we did have was a front row seat to all of their work, their private and public engagements. And that was really how we got to know the couple, through their philanthropy. But of course, we also had a lens to the couple through their friends and their circle of aides as well, which really helped provide a really balanced portrait of the couple and bring them to life. Because one thing I really wanted to do in this book was rehumanize them in a way, because it felt like we had forgotten they were just that sometimes.
I've never forgotten it, because I remember when I watched Suits from when it first started, by the way. So before I was watching Rachel going, oh, what a lovely actress, great actress. So I was thinking, you know, here's a great girl. And then all of a sudden I know she's dating Prince Harry. So all of that's fantastic. I don't know her. I read your book and I feel you must know her. If you saw her in the street, would she say, hello, Omid?
She would recognise me as probably a familiar face from the royal beat, but we are absolutely in no way friends. I think there's always that line between the journalist and the member of the royal family. But of course, one part of being part of the press corps is that you do get up close and personal with all members of the royal family. So I would imagine that all of them are very familiar with who I am, my name, and would be happy to chat.
Well, they know your name now, that's for sure. You've written this book, they know who you are. Honestly, Omi, one of the things I need to know is, did you ask them for an interview?
No, and it's really important to note that this is an unofficial, unauthorised biography. And whilst we knew our subjects that we were writing about, it was important to have a little distance from the couple, because of course what you want to be able to do is provide a balanced and objective portrait of who they are. And amongst the 100 or so sources that we spoke to, we also spoke to people close to the Cambridges, to the Prince of Wales, and also the Queen herself. So we really wanted to bring in the voices of other family members at times when we really needed a better understanding of where things broke down or how the couple chose to break away from the royal family itself.
So how do you verify what people say to you? Because I printed a bit off the book today. We've spoken with their close friends. We've spoken to close friends of Harry and Meghan, royal aides, palace staff, charities, organisations that have built long-lasting relationships with, and when appropriate, the couple themselves. How do you then verify what they say to you?
Well, I think the conversations that we have with the close friends and the aides and the people within their lives have all been done under the premise of doing this book. And the really unique situation that came out of it was a lot of the people working for Harry and Meghan, past and present, and friends in their lives, felt really frustrated about what they were seeing on the pages of some of the tabloids, because it seemed so different to the people that they knew. And to me, as someone writing a biography, I wanted to get to know the people that they knew and shed a light on who they were. And I think that the book really does manage to do that. Of course, our own interactions with the couple have helped. I've travelled with Harry on a number of his tours over the years. I knew him through his work quite well before Meghan was even on the scene. And so you build a picture of who these people are. And even what I was seeing was very different to what some of the commentators and parts of the media were saying about them.
OK, I just, again, for me, because I read the book and I really enjoyed it, it's all about hearing things that people say in this book and you go, wow, it's a real insight. And, you know, the first half of the book, it's a love story. It's the most fantastically beautiful love story. It really is, and I really enjoyed it. Let's be honest, what was it? Marcus. There's a man called Marcus who you talk about in the book. What a great friend he is. I hope they're still talking because he really helped get them together and make things possible for them to be able to date and go to places. I want to read you another bit of your own book very quickly, just for everyone watching at home. Meghan was photographed buying flowers wearing her initial necklace that she'd received. She had a necklace made that said H&M or M&H. She then got a phone call from somebody at Kensington Palace who advised her that wearing such a necklace only served to encourage the photographers to keep pursuing her. Meghan immediately called one of her close friends, close to tears, waited for her friend to pick up. "I can't win," she said, completely distraught. "They make out like I'm to blame for the pictures." Now, as far as I'm concerned, if one of my friends went and said that to you or a paper, I'd be mortified. You must know that that person now, do you think they're still talking to Meghan? Because they've revealed quite a lot.
Well, you mentioned a couple of the names of the friends, and they've really held a tight circle around them. But what we saw during this time where there were a lot of attacks through the tabloid press and through commentators were friends that were desperate to defend the couple, friends that felt that if they spoke up when the couple couldn't, that they'd be able to perhaps reframe their narrative a little bit, to shed a light on who they really were. And that example that you read now is perfect, you know, and we did speak to people on both sides for situations like that. We also spoke with Palisades, who got to know the couple through those early days and, of course, helped guide Meghan through the difficult moments. But it is always interesting to see how the palace may deal with something and how Meghan may have felt at the time. And you know, I think when you have a group of friends that are very concerned about you, it is something that is discussed widely within that circle. And, you know, my work has spoken for itself for many years. I think it made me and my co-author, Carolyn, particularly trustworthy individuals to set the record straight on some of these things in the book.
OK, honestly, again, really enjoyed it. It's a great read, it really is. So, very quickly, Harry's Showgirl. So do you know the person by name who called Meghan Harry's Showgirl?
I do, and obviously there are legal reasons why we don't go into certain namings in the book, and I don't really think this is a situation where we need to name names for every single example that we have in the book. I think the fact that these sort of narratives or these conversations that have happened about Meghan behind the couple's back are just important to be aware of, because it paints a picture of the institution that they were moving into. Because there is that sort of line between the royal family itself, which I think as you've read the book, you'll see that many members actually come across very well. We see how supportive the Queen has been and Prince Charles has been at many moments. But of course, within that institution, and we heard it from Diana before, there are the men in grey suits, as one of the friends in the book refers to them as the Vipers. And I think so many of these are people who haven't always had the best interests at heart for Harry and Meghan. And it's ultimately why they didn't feel protected or shielded enough within that institution.
But, of course, with Diana, of course, it did then transpire in later years that, of course, she did actually talk, as it were, to Andrew Morton. Is that going to happen to you, Omid? We'll discover that you spoke to them all along. Is that what we're going to find out in 3 years' time?
I heard the stories about Andrew Morton receiving tape spiked to him in the middle of a London park, and it all sounds very exciting. I wish there was a similar backstory with this book, but we have been really open and transparent about how we put this book together. There is a full author's note at the back of the book that really lists the entire reporting process and how we verified every story with 2 sources, and we've really tried to be open on that front.
All right, in your opinion, as a mixed-race person, do you believe that Meghan's heritage was one of the straws that broke the camel's back and wanted her to get out of the institution, the firm, as you say?
I think there are a number of themes at play here, and certainly what we saw in a lot of the media commentary was the emergence of this sort of Duchess difficult narrative that used every kind of sexist and racist trope that we attach to successful women and women of colour. She was too loud, too demanding, too difficult. And what was more ugly about that situation is that there were people within the institution that were briefing a lot of that information to the tabloids. Now, it's always hard to know what the agenda is for something like that, but it clearly didn't come from a good place. And, you know, Harry's very aware of what goes on behind the scenes, behind palace walls. And I think that the couple really found themselves in a position where they were told they couldn't defend themselves. We heard no comment time and time again from the palace, but their reputations were being destroyed by the words of other people using sort of third, fourth, fifth hand information that wasn't always necessarily true.
I hope they're happier now than they've ever been. Do you think they are?
Yeah, I think, there's been a lot of talk about how the door is open for them to return to the fold should they want to. And I think that that's a great sign of just how close Harry is with Her Majesty. But I think the couple are very much forward focused at the moment. They've obviously moved to California during really strange times. I think for all of us, the past few months have been very difficult and challenging in their own ways, but they have been able to already start establishing their sort of charitable brand moving forward. We've heard Harry speaking about racism and racial justice in a way that we've never heard him before. And Meghan's clearly found a much stronger and louder voice than she had before within the institution. And I think that says a lot about how the couple are thriving and really doing as a family as well.
It's absolutely true. Now, are you surprised that the palace haven't commented at all?
I'm not surprised that the palace have necessarily said anything on the record, but what has been very noticeable is sort of anonymous comments and source quotes in certain tabloids trying to discredit the book before the book was even out. Aides speaking anonymously about perhaps how some of the things in the book were just petty revenge for the couple. And I think that said a lot about the worries that there were many truths within this book that they didn't want out there. And we do pull back the curtain on the institution in a way that hasn't been done before.
That's absolutely true, Omid, without a shadow of a doubt. So, look, your words were, it's unauthorised and it's, an unofficial biography, which therefore, do you know what? It's just, if you just want to see it from it, it's just a great read. It's just a great read. That's the way I see it. Do you know what I mean? It's a nice book to read, and I enjoyed reading it, and I felt I know a little bit more about them. Omid, congratulations. I think your book will be massive, so well done, and thank you very much for coming on the programme this morning.
Thanks so much. Glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you. Hang on a minute. $12.99, get any money back, because I really enjoyed it. Any discounts for the future books or anything? No? No, Omid's giving nothing.
I'll get you a few copies in the post.
OK, and sign them as well to eBay. Cheers. Thanks very much. See you later. Right, Finding Freedom is out now. And as I said, you know what? I don't read a lot of books every year, but I read this one and I really enjoyed it.
Don't forget, you can watch full episodes of Lorraine on the ITV Hub and all the best clips, compilations and playlists right here on our channel. Just subscribe now and you'll never miss an upload. Click here to watch another video similar to this one, or click here to head to our channel's homepage to explore all of our exciting videos.